the challenging things in hoop dance is actually dancing with your hoop and making your moves dancey. So in this video, we'll go over a few techniques to incorporate dance into your movement, and then, but primarily, we will go over some moves and look at how we can make those particular moves more dancey. My first tip is to work on moving your feet almost in any way you can to start off. And then as you watch yourself back and as you try moving your feet with whatever moves you're doing, you'll figure out which ones you like, which ways you like to move your feet, and what works and what doesn't. But to give a few ideas to start off, one of the foundational footwork moves for me is a back ball change, and I like to do it with a weave. Watch out, cat. Sorry, back ball change. To do that, you're just going to take one of your feet, put it back, lift the foot in front, set it down, put your feet together. So you're here, back ball change, and you've done your weave. To alter that a little bit, we can bring our feet back, both feet, back, back, forward, forward. And when you do that, you can kind of keep doing the weave while you keep moving your feet. And maybe turn and whatever. And this is another move where I use a back ball change and kind of just walking forward in general, but this is like the airflow move from Dan Love's Airflow Flow Session. We also have just simply sticking your leg out and doing like a touch. And then you can also do like step touch. So one of my favorite times to do a touch is when I'm doing like linear isolations. Pop. Or really generally just walk with your hoop. Whatever you're doing, just keep your feet moving as you try and figure out what feels good and to try and get into that mindset of moving your feet. In contrast with moving your feet is keeping them still. And one of the ways that I like to vary keeping them still is to put them together. So put my feet together with intention of them being like really ankles close and making it look like a move. And then if you bend your knees, it gives your body a little extra room to move. So you can kind of like move your hips. You can think of it as moving your hips, or just think of it as like pushing your knee back a little bit. I'm not straightening my leg, but I am straightening my leg a little. And when I do that, I kind of like doing these linear isos that way too, or like these ones. The second general topic we'll talk about is getting your non-dominant hand involved and looking like it's not just doing this. So the common thing you'll hear is to have the dancer hand, which kind of looks like that. You bring your middle finger down a little bit, and like one of the things I think you want to watch out for is like putting too much strain in those fingers and putting too much energy into them. Similarly, when your arm is down, you want your arm to have purpose. And I threw a dancer hand in there too, but you don't have to have a dancer hand to have arms of purpose. Like, right? That looks different than just like standing here like this. Like if I'm like, but if I go, right? So you can see my arms have purpose. They can carry purpose when I'm talking. My general tip on how to try and start using your left hand, non-dominant hand, it's my left hand, is to try and sort of copy what your dominant hand is doing. For example, when doing folds, my arm is kind of doing what the other arm is doing. Not as much, but just a little bit, and it gives sort of a symmetry to the movement, I guess. But your arm doesn't always have to do anything at all. It can just be down there, right? And then maybe we throw in a little symmetry when we do that. I've been calling these waist stalls because they stall when they're at your waist, and I don't know if they're called something else. For this one, I like to step forward, then step back, and get my arm out of the way, either by putting it straight up or add a broken T. These ones might be a good place to do the closed feet, rock the knees with it, and if you're doing the side to side with a stir the pot in the middle, stepping side to side with your feet as well. Similar to stir the pot is Tinkerbell, and one of the things you can do with Tinkerbell is the feet together, and you can kind of like bring your hand up while you do it. Then you can go back and forth. Another thing you can do with Tinkerbell, with the kind of idea of letting the second arm copy, is let the arm copy after rather than trying to do it at the same time, right? Let Tinkerbell come through and then swipe your arm under. There's quite a lot you can do with a smear to incorporate more body movement. One of them is to kind of trace your foot and let your foot copy what your hands are doing or what the hoop is doing. So the hoop comes around and the foot comes around. The hoop goes around and the foot goes around. Or you can reverse it so that as the hoop comes around, the foot goes backwards. Same way, backwards. When you're turning with your hoop and doing smears, it's nice to change levels by giving yourself a nice pencil turn up on releve. So you're down low, turning, and then up and down again. Also, when you're turning, it's fun to let your head follow the hoop. And if you're turning around, this next movement is good for if there's a pause on the music and you just want to pause what you're doing to accent that. And it's very simple. It's just a look. I like to put my arm up when I do it, that's my style thing. But looking down where the hoop has gone. Hopefully that gave you some ideas on how to incorporate some more movement and dance into your hooping. If there's anything I can do to elaborate or give more or do better, feel free to ask, and happy hooping.